Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks in another match of Beyond All Reason, where today we're taking a look at a match. Oh, a little bit of a screen glitch there. Taking a look at a match that was played on Theta Crystals, right? I'm getting the name of that one right? Yes. Oh, no. Didn't get that one right at all. Hades Pond 1.1. There's so many maps in this game, and we are lucky to have such a beautiful map pool, but it does certainly mean that oftentimes, yeah, they tend to slip by in my memory banks. But anyway, today spawning as the blue Armada leader. It's going to be none other than Hans Joaquin, playing right here on the front line. Going to be showing us what he's got on this very metal-packed map, this very energy crystal-packed map. It's got these AA, AAA battery energy crystals that are going to be right for the harvest here. In fact, why don't we just go ahead and select a little reclaim command, and you can see right there in the middle of the screen, about 20,000 energy worth of reclaim available right there. No metal available from it, but the energy is certainly useful, especially for if you're going to go into any of those energy converter economies, like the early Armada energy converter based economies. They're very, very powerful. Our red team leader spawning as a Cortex commander, going for vehicles on the high ground here is a little interesting. It's going to be none other than Dot. Vehicles on the high ground here. Well, the vehicles can traverse this, I do believe. Yeah, I think they can get up and down this ramp, so that's not going to be an issue. But usually I feel like we see an air player here. Yeah, because you're essentially protected by the position that Xenodragon is going to be playing here on the southern side. Usually blockading this, but then the hot pink player positioning up here on the northern side. Maybe we have something cheeky planned here for Dot, but otherwise maybe we're just going to go ahead and just contribute some forces to the front line. I don't mind it, certainly, but also another thing that's available out of these T1 vehicle labs is, of course, these amphibious tanks. Could be the reason that Dot has decided to go into vehicles here. Already we have some rovers headed across the map right here from Xeno, looking to get aggressive over on the other side. We do have some grunts intercepting those rovers, so at the very least those scout craft will be detected. Regrouping here for a little bit more of a concentrated effort. Trying to blast down the ticks here. Rovers versus ticks, always a little bit of a stinky matchup. Spy plane headed across the map. Let's switch over to the red perspective here now. We can see exactly what the red team sees as we discover the lavender base and the seafoam green base. The hot pink ticks about to discover the blue player here as well. They've certainly seen the ticks, and now that we've seen the mechs, it gives you confirmation that indeed this is where Hans Joaquin is going to be playing at. There we go. Commander and the base is spotted right here. Lovely scouting efforts from the red team. Yeah, nicely done. Scout plane goes up north to solidify the efforts, and there we go. Gamer21A as well as Rob, the 14 open skill German player, going to be detected in the backline, and there we go. The last two commanders finally discovered here. Wonderfully done. So now that we have a full perspective on the map here, at least the red team has a full perspective on the map, it should mean that they know where they're going to need to focus their attention. With the blue and purple commanders both fighting in the middle of the map right here, as well as Amrissa, the green commander, there's a lot of talent stacked right here in the middle of the map, so it's going to be important that we put some pressure on that side. We're very heavily stacked towards the bottom right here for the red team. We have Xenodragon and Dot both fighting on the southern side. In some senses, that's a major benefit because, of course, you have all your experience on one lane. It means that if, for instance, you have, say, the bottom of the blue team playing on this side, it's definitely going to be tricky for that commander to hold on. It also means, of course, though, that these commanders are dealing with a little bit less than usually they would. Oh, I see the play here. So this is really cheeky. So what Dot has decided to go for here is a construction turret into an aquatic lab. So we have the amphibious complex right here, and the one unit that I think we're going to be going for out of this amphibious complex is the Salamander. The Salamander, technically a T2 unit. It's kind of a T1.5. There's a couple of different ways in which you can get a Salamander, one of which is through the amphibious complex, which is the easiest, the cheapest way to do it. The other option is to go into a T2 vehicle lab. Obviously quite a bit more expensive, but you can get those up that way as well. And the reason the Salamander is so good is because it's quite a bit more powerful than medium tanks, for instance. It does quite a good burst of damage. It's very, very powerful and at a reasonably low cost. Makes it a very dangerous unit to, yeah, to have to go up against, especially if you don't have a really tremendously efficient way of dealing with them. In the T1 era, there just really isn't one. Shuriken here, doing a great job of cleaning this up, by the way. Stopping those ticks before they really get too much damage in. How is the blue team scouting, by the way? Not bad. We have a vision of kind of what's going on over here. Nice little run by on this northern side, as we do see a bunch of grunts running forward. LLT not complete over here, so it's not going to be able to defend. Unimatrix's commander is in position, though, and it does mean that these pawn ultimately will be deflected, or rather will be deflecting these grunts from moving forward. A nice defense right there, but that was a fabulous engagement from the green commander, who took a beautiful set of trades right there, losing just a few grunt to kill quite a few pawn. Even the Blitz tank in a little bit of trouble right here. Nicely done. Lovely stuff. Amarissa, the Green Commander, worrying me ever so slightly here. We do have a couple of Incisor tanks. They're nice. They're good. They're not enough. We have an LLT coming up here at the very least. LLT will be nice for at least keeping things at bay. Falafel in a little bit of trouble here. Taking some damage from that LLT. Brought down to 84%. Oh, we're moving in with the Incisor too. Okay. Falafel going to take control over this position here. Yielding is the Green Commander. Willing to essentially just abandon that and go ahead and retreat backwards. Content to hold the line over here. The Brown Commander, suffering greatly over here, as now a whole bunch of ticks try to move forward. They're going to settle for the kill on the Constructor over here, or attempt to get the kill on the Constructor. Bunch of medium tanks available here as well. As soon as they push forward, that LLT is toast. This is some beautiful aggression on this northern line right now. The Brown Commander without enough forces to defend this attack. Shuriken in the air trying to clean this up as best as possible. Doing as much as they can, but it is just a single Shuriken and there really is only so much it can do. One of the tanks is paralyzed. At the very least, that's quite nice. More would be better though. Bombing run, by the way, connects on a bunch of wind turbines in the backline here. These heavy whirlwind bombers do connect quite nicely against those wind turbines. There we go, another beautiful bombing run. Connects with the wind turbines of the Lavender players, shutting down the progress on a T2 lab. My goodness, that's greedy. Especially greedy for this early in the match right here. 6 minutes into the game and we're going into T2 on a all lanes forward type of map. Medium tank still ravaging the backline. Janus tank finally available to deal with these. Boom go the Janus missiles, connecting with at least one of those medium tanks, shutting down its primary functions. The second one, though, continuing to blast away here, and that energy storage is the target. Boom goes the E-storage. Eventually, Janus fires once more and takes out that tank, but tons of damage done right there by the Purple Commander, who now has more than enough space to expand forward, claim the mexes, and continue applying pressure. JG Beer X in a lot of trouble right here because Unimatrix isn't pushed as far forward as his orange compatriot. It means, of course, that now, yeah, these forces are being applied multiple different angles of pressure, and it means that the Orange Commander is forced offline here. Salamanders popping their heads out of the water. Oh, this is dangerous. So we did go for Salamanders. We are pumping them out of this amphibious complex here. You can see 350 metal is really not much. You can also build poison arrows out of this as well, which are essentially a heavy tank. They're an amphibious heavy tank, comparable to the Bull, I would say. They just also can dive under the water. There we go. Salamanders looking damn near impervious to those T1 units. Thugs not even scratching the paint on the outer coating of those tanks. LLT is not going to fare much better either. The one thing about Salamanders that you do have to be wary of is, of course, that their heat ray beam actually falls off with distance.
Battle started.
So they do much more damage closer range. It means that if you get them closer into combat, they can do a lot more damage, but of course it also puts them at higher risk. It's one of those things to be aware of. But poking and prodding with these Salamanders over here on the southern side, trying to take out Sirius's commander. Ooh, that commander is low. Boom goes the Lavender Commander. Beautifully done with those Salamanders. Definitely well worth the pick right there in order to snipe that commander. Hans Joachim's commander moving on the southern side, trying to defend against these Salamanders here as well, but that commander is also looking very thin in the HP department now. 49% HP remains for that blue commander. Salamanders looking to make the difference on the southern side. We do have quite a lot of units available for Ben ZR. It's a lot of cheap tier 1 units though. And those Salamanders can make all the difference. Are we going to pivot or are we going to keep making Salamanders? No, it's just complete Salamander all in. I don't mind it. It's definitely a powerful play. But if you keep that economy expanding, you can certainly pump out more Salamanders, and that doesn't sound like a bad idea. Meanwhile, medium tanks have continued to exploit this weakness in the middle of the map right here. Yeah, an improper read from the red team. Not necessarily functioning or forming a proper defense here in the middle of the map. They're not applying enough pressure here, where a lot of really key good players are for the blue team. Not realizing that threat, not recognizing it, not respecting it. And suddenly now you've got medium tanks and ticks and all sorts of other stuff in your backline. Heavy laser tower here quite nice for thwarting the effects of the Rocketeers pushing forward, the Aggravators and the Rocketeers. Obviously quite good area denial tool. But it's only as effective as it can connect with as many of these, and it doesn't have the radar tower for full line of sight vision. It's nice. It is slowly working down these Aggravators here, which is good. Eventually, medium tanks are cleaned up as well. Unimatrix needs to put some bots out on the field. Yeah, we've got a lot of energy and a lot of metal, but none of it's out on the field. We do have some Centurion and a couple of Maces here. Shuriken finally pulled over to try and help paralyze some of this as well. Well, Heavy Laser Tower does fall, and that's a bit of a bummer. Centurion working on as much of this as possible. Obviously, it can only work so fast. Gamer 21 going to be targeted down right here. That commander's getting real low. Uh-oh. Commander brought very low. 11% HP left on that commander. Almost falls, but does manage to pull back just in the nick of time. With enough of this army standing here, the green commander does remain in control of this situation, and I think that's going to be a dire situation up on the northern side. Meanwhile, the southern side is looking pretty desperate here for the blue team. 2v1, as Benziar does point out. Yes, because I have no metal due to lack of mines, cries out the Lavender commander. I think it's probably because of the T2 lab here, realistically speaking. But yeah, this area right here was supposed to be for the purple commander, but it ended up being contested heavily by Xeno Dragon and L. Morrison. Salamanders taking advantage of their amphibiosity, though, and crawling under the seas, popping up right in the backline right here. T2 Constructor not going to help much. T2 Lab even not going to help much when those Salamanders are in your backline, tearing things apart. And that's just a casual 3,000 metal directly down the drain. Beautiful play right here from Don, managing to use those Salamanders on a map that can definitely benefit from it. Not every map benefits from the Salamanders being able to go underwater. There's still a very powerful tank, there's still a very good tool. But this map especially, what a killer play right here. Popping up these medium tanks. Are they medium tanks? Yeah, medium heat ray Salamander. They're quite good. Go ahead and wipe these messages off. A lot of chit-chat, a lot of APM overflow, as we like to call it around here, as the Salamanders ravage the backline of the Cyan Commander, sealing the fate of the Cyan Commander, who fought hard on the front line here, going for the hug of death of the Yellow Commander here, trying to take out this base. Didn't actually manage to, and despite managing to claim all this juicy metal on the front lines here, there's really only so much the Blue Commander can do when the entire backline has already been destroyed. Forces being sent down south here to try and intercept these Salamanders, but they're more than happy to just dive into the water. Oh, that's so tricky. Yep, Salamander's just gonna dip, dive, duck, and dodge into the water right here. That was the red commander going down, or pardon me, the Cyan commander going down. The Salamander's just diving into the water and popping up on the other side here. More than happy to just, yeah, escape via naval means. Continue doing damage on the backline. Unimatrix still holding on here with the help of those shurikens up in the air, trying desperately to keep things up and running. Looks like the commander up on this northern side, I believe that was the orange commander. Yeah, the orange commander has decided to tap out of this game. So Unimatrix has taken over this extra commander. With shuriken paralyzing everything, I actually wouldn't even mind seeing a capture command on some of these, just so that you can try and desperately rebuild some kind of an army. Gamer 21A repaired up to full strength right here. Those res bots, not sure where they ended up at, but no longer available here. Interesting. Salamander's taking down the T2 lab right here of the dark green commander. That hurts. Those T2 reinforcements were what we're going to need to break this line right here. That's a lot of medium tanks and even a bunch of Janets mixed into this comp. Yeah, that's going to hurt those heavy tanks quite nicely. It's a tricky composition because you have to dive it into combat and then you have to pull it back basically as soon as you do. Couple of shell shockers wouldn't be the end of the world here though, just to start besieging a lot of this static defense. Those heavy laser towers are outranged by the vehicle artillery. Massive bombing run here. The Hot Pink Commander taking advantage of the exploited lower lane here to go for a killer bombing run on the green base. Just sending these bombers across the map and strafing every single one of these bases. Beautifully done right here. Stormbringers recharge their bombing silos pretty quickly, so it means that they can do things like this really, really nice and effectively. Massive damage into the backline right here, as these bombers look for every and any opportunity that they can to deploy those impact warheads. Down go the wind turbines, bringing with it the morale of the blue team, I feel. As indeed, Misty Fire calls a resign vote here. Unimatrix holding on in the front line. A couple of Centurion pushing forward for Rob. Gamer 21A in charge of most of the economy back here. Does have a bunch of T2 units available. Yeah, gonna be overwhelmed by just the sheer numbers of T1 here, though. LLTs are popping. Rob in a little bit of trouble. And Gamer 21A's commander looking a little bit thin there. Okay, we're gonna focus on neither commander is a bit of an interesting choice. I think going after either one of those, or if we had really proper splits, maybe both of those. Not gonna be the case, though. Southern side completely wiped out right here. Northern side stalled out. It's going to come down to who can swing out the other side of their opponent faster, and it looks like right now more and more pressure being applied. The red team is in the command seat. Missile trucks fighting a medium tank right here. One missile at a time, doing their part. 6% damage on a missile truck is not bad, though. Those used to do 2% when they had tracking. I want to say it was 2% anyway. Maybe that's a little bit of a under-exaggeration. We finally have some artillery pieces, a couple of shell shocker firing away, but also a gauntlet set up here as well. Cyan Commander goes down over here on the northern side, by the way. Didn't even see what killed that. I imagine it must have just been a couple of ticks or pawns or something. That commander was extremely low health, so risking it on the front line. Not going to work out all too well here for Unimatrix, who desperately needs to continue expanding this economy. Sending constructors around to rebuild these metal extractors would be ideal. Continuing to build wind turbines and E-converters and all that good stuff. Also a very, very powerful strategy. Wouldn't mind seeing it. A little bit of a kickban vote right there. Wow. Well, all right. Rob in a tricky situation here now with not enough power for a D-gun. Shuriken, oh, making all the difference up here. Shuriken allowing pawns to kill fiends is so unfortunate for those poor fiends. They were supposed to be the savior of the northern side, but instead they were shut down so efficiently. And with the salamander continuing to pop up wherever they are needed. Oh, I love that. Just dive back into the water and then those plasma rounds cannot touch you anymore. So annoying for the blue team to have to deal with. Those salamanders in the backline right here. Very, very cheeky from Dot. And indeed, with all that pressure applied all over the place, there may have been a chance for the blue team to push forward on the northern side with a concerted effort, but none such effort ever came to pass, and so indeed the red team will take victory in this very quick game of Beyond All Reason. What a fun one. Dot doing everything and earning the golden cow for that very cheeky salamander play. It was very simple, it was very eloquent, and you see basically no change from the early game play here. It was essentially just go into all the mexes, go into the salamanders, and continue trading them out efficiently, but sometimes that really is all it takes. So thanks a ton for watching, and I sure hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.